Hello, I'm Maggie, also known as Spring Loon Oracle. I'm a psychic medium, tarot reader, astrologist, past life regression practitioner, and so much more. And today, we're doing a spiritual deep dive into twin flames. This is the first episode of my spiritual deep dive series where you pick topics, you get to vote on topics over on my Instagram, and maybe one day here as well, that I will deep dive, do a bunch of research into, and come to you with a story, a video essay of sorts, but it's always going to have to do with something spiritual, something witchy, something a little bit magical, something me. And today, the very first episode is about twin flames.
You are twin flames.
Which was voted for by my followers over on Instagram. You can find me there at Spring Loon Oracle. If you want to join, I put it on my stories once a month and you get to vote on what you want to hear about the most. Twin flames just won over History of Witchcraft, so maybe we'll see. History of Witchcraft will be October's, and I feel like that's kind of fitting. Now, twin flames is a controversial one. It's one that's been in the media a lot. It's a spiritual term that a lot of people have different opinions, different ideas, and really big feelings about, and it's definitely been a space where a lot of hurt and betrayal has also happened. So today's episode will not be taken lightly. I look deep into this topic. I have formed my own ideas and I'm just giving you the information to form yours. Now, we are going to be talking about gaslighting and cults and manipulation, and that isn't to say that that's what twin flames is about, or that's even what the spiritual community is about, but it definitely plays a part when bad people try and take advantage of the collective, who try and take advantage of people who are hurting. And it made me really sad, actually, researching today's topic, because I work in the spiritual field. I'm, like I said, a tarot reader. I'm a spiritual practitioner, and seeing people abuse that power, abuse that authoritative role, makes me very deeply sad to see people who are hurting being taken advantage of. So that is a big part of today's story, but I also just wanted to talk about the definition of twin flame is, where the idea comes from, the history of it, examples of it before the term was coined, and so much more. So if you're ready, let's jump into today's spiritual deep dive episode all about twin flames. I want to be like doing something. Like, I feel like I should be doing my makeup, but I'm not a pro. As you can tell, it's not much. I should be like doing my makeup, or like at least holding a microphone as I do this like video essay deep dive. But the cord on my microphone is broken, so it's right over here. And maybe one day I'll be holding the microphone and it'll give me something to do with my hands, a little bit more intrigue. But twin flames at its core is a spiritual, a new age concept that describes a certain connection. Typically, this connection is felt very deeply and is a very intense connection between two individuals who are supposedly two halves of a whole. It's the idea that a soul, in order to come to Earth, had to be split to lose some of that otherworldly cosmic knowledge. And when you're on this earth, you can connect to that person who is literally the other half of you, the other half of your soul, which is a really beautiful idea on the surface, but it holds a lot of connotations underneath. One of the reasons is because in order for a soul to split, this doesn't mean that you two complement each other perfectly necessarily, but it could mean that you hold exactly what the other doesn't. You have all the lessons, all of the knowledge that the other person needs to grow and is missing from themselves, and vice versa. Meaning that until you've gone through a lot of life lessons and gained some of this knowledge, they are not going to be your perfect other half. They're going to be your mirror or your foil, and really going to be teaching and pushing you more than complimenting you or even aligned with you. I personally see twin flames much more as a foil than a perfect other half. If I'm being honest with you, I'll give you more of my thoughts at the end, but I don't even know if I fully believe in the concept of twin flames anymore. I don't know if I ever really did. It was always something I wasn't super confident on. Everyone has people who are deep mirrors for themselves, who are deep foils for themselves, and really mirror back their own flaws and things that they need to grow and learn. But this doesn't necessarily, in my mind, have to be a twin flame. It could be from karmic things from past lives. It could be coincidence. It could be the way that your path is meant to go. So I think thinking of this person as a foil rather than a twin flame is a healthier way to look at it, at the very least. Because typically these relationships are very fraught, and that's something even when I was really in a phase where I was like, yes, I think twin flames are real. I've heard the term and I believe it, even though I hadn't done tons and tons of research into it. This idea of your twin flame as your foil, as your mirror, really resonated with me. And I would say to people, it's probably a good thing that your twin flame isn't a romantic interest, that they're a friend, a family member, a coworker, etc. Because this relationship can be very fraught because you're always pushing each other. And I really think in love, you're meant to be with someone who makes you feel safe, not someone who makes you feel like you're always being pushed, you're always being challenged, you're always having to grow and learn. You need a safe place to land in your relationship, in love, because sometimes these twin flame relationships can cause too much pain and they can be really difficult, and it just makes it not worth it to me. So with this idea of twin flames, sometimes you need to let go. Sometimes you need to let go of this foil, come back to this person later or in another lifetime, because you're not meant to always be growing. This life is also about enjoying and discovering yourself, and so much more than just being pushed to like ascend, learn. The idea behind twin flames and why you should want it in a spiritual way is because it's meant to like up-level your soul or allow you to ascend faster, because you're learning these cosmic and karmic and soul-based lessons faster when you're with the person who has them all to teach you. But I don't think that's what life is all about. And really, really fast awakenings or really fast healing, it's just not necessary, because time is a construct. Your soul has as much time. It can weave in and out of time. It can go to different planes of existence, in my opinion. And if you're woo-woo enough to believe in the idea of twin flames, you're woo-woo enough into the idea that there's other spaces and places, because that's what a twin flame is. It's your soul coming from a different space and place and splitting. So if you believe in that, then you should believe that you have all the time you need, and it's not necessary to find this particular person and heal and grow and be fast tracking this spiritual experience. Instead, take your time, enjoy yourself. So there's the definition of twin flame, and now I would really like to get into the history of it. Where does this actually come from? This definition I just gave to you with a little bit of my own personal thoughts. Where does this idea come from? Because it didn't just pop out of nowhere. I'm not just making this up now. I'm sure you've heard it all over the place. So actually, despite what you may think, unlike witchcraft or tarot or even the term soulmates, twin flames is a fairly new concept. It was first coined as the actual term twin flame only in 1999, when Elizabeth Clare Prophet used it in her book, Soulmates and Twin Flames, The Spiritual Dimensions of Love and Relationships. She actually coined that word twin flames. However, there are other instances of it mentioned back through history, just under different names or different concepts, but not actually about the twin flame definition itself. And I love history and I love learning all about this sort of thing, so I find this part so fascinating. In old yogic beliefs, there's a similar concept to twin flames called two-headed, and it plays into this idea of masculine and feminine energy. Now, masculine and feminine energy is not about male and female, it's not gendered. It's also known as like yin and yang energy, which is more likely what it would be in a yogic sort of sense. And it's this idea that we hold both within us, that masculine or yang energy is like drive, force, go, making things happen on the earthly plane. That feminine energy is receiving, creating ideas. It's magic, it's spirituality, and both need to hold a place within us. We need to be able to create and think and observe, and then also push and move and go. And so we all have this energy within us. And this yogic belief, however, is similar to twin flames. This two-headed belief is that, once again, a soul was split into masculine and feminine. And in some twin flame definitions, that's what they believe as well. Whereas I believe that both of these energies exist within us. And with that belief, it's that these two energies are split and you have a masculine and feminine counterpart, which I don't really agree with. It is said that these souls are karmically parted to learn what they need to until they can come back together again at the right time, and that you can't force this time, that it's going to happen down a path. And even though I don't personally agree with everything that this theory is saying, it does really push the theory that you should not be searching for your twin flame. That should not be your life purpose, and that this will happen naturally when the time is right for your own soul. You're not meant to seek them out. They're meant to find you naturally, and it might not even be the lifetime for it. It might be in 3, 4, 5 lifetimes. So don't make this your goal. This doesn't have to be the end-all be-all for love and for your soul. There are also examples of twin flames that can be found in Hinduism. And I apologize if I say these names wrong. I looked them up. I'm trying my best, but feel free to correct me, but I am trying. So the first example I wanted to talk about is Shiva and Shakti, which are energetic beings, which are gods that represent consciousness and principle. So one being divine consciousness and the other being divine action. Once again, similar to that masculine, feminine, yin and yang energy we were talking about before. People argue that these figures are also proof of a belief of twin flames because they are two parts that need each other to move forwards, to take action, and to work. You can't just have consciousness and you can't just have action. Like, together is how they're really married and they make something. However, that's taken out of context because in Hinduism, it's believed that this energy exists within us all. So we each have both parts. So even though they may represent that twin flame union, they exist within us both. So we can't have that same connection because we have both of their energies within. The other example within Hinduism is Radha and Krishna, who are a god and a goddess. People often take these as example of twin flames because they are two figures who represent divine love, whereas other beliefs or in other deities and gods, there is one that represents love, like Aphrodite or Venus. This represents love between two gods. Both of them are needed to represent this divine love. They also teach qualities, though, of patience, sacrifice, and support to grow your love. They are a divine couple experiencing divinely hard-fought love. I really believe that this is more of a soulmate relationship rather than an example of a twin flame. And it doesn't actually speak of a twin flame concept of the two souls splitting and coming together. Instead, it's two people finding and cultivating a safe space of love together through patience and strength and just pure unconditional love. There's also examples, I'm not going to give you the exact ones, but there's also examples of twin flames in Abrahamic religions and Bible texts, where they say something about two souls becoming one, or two souls becoming one in love, and many people often take this as other religious and spiritual proof of twin flames. However, once again, that's taken out of context. A lot of times, most times, these phrases, these sentences, this proof is not saying two souls were split and then come together to make one again. It's talking about loving someone as you would love yourself. Loving someone unconditionally as you would and should yourself. So once again, it's not about the splitting of souls. A lot of the twin flame stuff is taken out of context. The first mention of like twin souls, not twin flames, but twin souls, does go back almost 2,500 years ago with some ancient philosophers like Aristotle and Plato. Aristotle is quoted in saying, "Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies." And in Plato's work, Symposium, he brings up the idea that when humans were created, they had two of everything, two left arms, two right arms, two pairs of legs, and then mentions how Zeus, in punishment for humans rebelling against the gods, split these humans in two, and that's how your belly button was created. When you were sewn together from the version of you splitting, it was all tied together at the belly button, and that when you met the other half of yourself, it would showcase your wounds. You would have to look your wounds in the face, which is very similar to this idea of twin flames. And it's one of these quotes that people use as like twin flame proof. In Symposium, Plato states, "And when one of them meets the other half, the actual half of himself, whether he be lover of youth or lover of another sort. The pair are lost in amazement of love and friendship and intimacy, and one will not be out of the other's sight, as I may say, even for a moment. But it's important to remember that these people are philosophers. They are thinking of how things came to being, and concepts and ideas that our brains cannot truly ever know or understand. And so while this is a belief, this isn't necessarily direct proof of twin flames. It's just another belief of ancient philosophers. It's something they were thinking about that could be the case, could be true. And from all of these faiths, all of these ideas, all of these cultures and beliefs, the ideas of twin flames began to form into what we know it to be today. And this can cause like multiple meanings and multiple understandings of the term because there's so many different places to pull it from, and it's a concept. It's not a hard and fast rule. And that's what a lot of spirituality is. I'm always like, pick and choose what you want, because at the end of the day, spirituality is about cultivating personal beliefs. It's not about following a doctrine or following rules. It's about figuring out what you believe in and how to act through the world accordingly and how you want to move through the world accordingly. And ultimately, this idea of twin flames is known now as someone finding their complete other half. And then it's taken further to know that that person holds your lessons, your wounds, and is a mirror to you to learn and ascend and grow through life and grow through your own soul faster. However, with media attention and celebrity culture and the online space and so much more, this idea of twin flames has been linked very closely with the feelings of infatuation and often becomes dangerous. When you research online what are the symptoms of twin flames, some of the following come up. Persistent thoughts, claiming you won't be able to stop thinking about your twin flame when you meet them and it will consume all of your life. It'll take up all of your mind, which can be similar to very intense infatuation, especially when you're younger, and that this is a normal sign of a twin flame and you should be pursuing that and leaning into it. A second one is called core wound pain, claiming to be this really intense feeling around your heart. And this can range from a light butterfly feeling when you meet someone to this more intense, dramatic feeling of like longing and pain. Once again, this is just playing off infatuation and could be even playing off people's intense reactions when they have something like a rejection wound, a fear of rejection, where they just long for this person to give them that validation. And the third one is doubt. It's saying if you doubt that twin flames are real and doubt that this is possible, but you feel this urge, doubt is a sign, and like doubt plays a part in everything we do. I'm so strong in my beliefs and I still come across doubt sometimes. So this doesn't mean you found your twin flame because you feel doubt. I would say doubt is healthy, and this is just saying push that aside. That's ridiculous. That's just something that can come up when you find your twin flame. But I think whenever we feel doubt, we should at least hear it out to see what it's saying about us. And maybe the caution, maybe it's your intuition talking. It can also say you doubt the connection because when you meet your twin flame, it can be volatile and you can feel pain because it's pushing you to grow. And when you doubt a relationship that's causing you pain, that's usually because there's a boundary that needs to be set in place or it's something you need to leave behind. So telling people not to doubt their relationship when they are being caused strife and pain, I personally think is a dangerous precedent. It's a dangerous message to spread to people, especially people who are impressionable and just longing for love so badly. I do think the idea of twin flames can be a little bit dangerous. This idea that someone is not whole and that your self-worth and your self is defined by finding your twin flame and finding love rather than defined by you is not my favorite message. And one of the reasons why I am cautious around the idea of twin flames. And as someone who works as a past life regression practitioner and in the realm of past lives and has for years, this doesn't mean I don't believe in karma, I don't believe in wounds, I don't believe in all of this thing. And not even saying I don't fully believe in twin flames, but I don't think that there's just one person out there for everyone either. I think you have lots of soulmates. I think there's people you meet in past lifetimes and you do feel that pull to them, and it's because your soul recognizes them. And then that relationship will tell you whether your soul recognizes them because they are a healthy presence in your life, they are someone who makes your soul feel safe like a soulmate, or because there's a karmic imbalance and you're meant to work through it, because this person treated you poorly in the past and you need to cut that cycle and set your soul free. And you could still feel that same pull towards this toxic person or this person who has treated you poorly through lifetimes, and it can be mistaken for a twin flame feeling. But instead, you're meant to free yourself. You're not meant to go through this cycle and stick with someone who isn't filling you up and making you feel amazing. I have so many clients who in their past life regressions have experienced non-earthly lives. So this idea that your soul can flit between earth and different spaces and it has to split every time, or that your soul isn't whole when it does this, just doesn't make sense to me from the experience I've had as a past life regression practitioner. Especially when I was saying it seems so dangerous, some of these things. Some of these signs and symptoms don't come from this elevated spiritual place like my idea of soulmates and past life connections are. Instead, it comes from this place of wounds, codependency, infatuation, obsession. It can be abusive relationships. It can be unable to accept rejection, that someone doesn't want you, and then you are left with this huge longing thinking they are your twin flame. And it can put people in dangerous or not so healthy situations. In that very first coining of twin flames in Elizabeth Prophet's book, she says that there are 144,000 twin flame couples out there, meaning there's only 72,000 relationships in the world that can be twin flames, and we have billions of people. This is strange to me because it's claiming that only certain people have souls that had to come down and split, and what are the other people, just like NPCs? It's a way to make the idea of twin flames exclusive and sexy and fun. And it's like, ooh, I found a twin flame and therefore I am special. Whereas instead, I think anyone can find soulmate love. It's not an exclusive thing. You can't just have these soulless people walking around. Everyone has a soul. Everyone's having their own unique experience. And so this idea that it's exclusive also is something to market and to push people and to make them feel special, to buy into the idea and want your help. She also writes in her book, the thing about this karmic marriage or relationship that you are into is that you can never get out of it. No one on heaven or earth can separate you from your twin flame. This feeds into that obsessive behavior. This feeds into this idea that if it doesn't work out with this person, you are alone. It feeds into the idea that you have to make this happen and nothing can come between you. And if something comes between you, they are wrong. And it just leads into this unhealthy codependency and this feeling around this person and a lack of being individual. A licensed psychologist, Shauna H. Springer, does claim that both the concepts of twin flames and even soulmates to a certain extent are inadequate and they're not helpful for people who are looking for lifelong love. She talks about meeting someone for the first time and the first stages of a relationship being like this cocaine rush period, this honeymoon period we often talk about, where everything feels amazing and intense and right. And that it's not exclusive to only 77,000 couples, and it's not even exclusive to just one person. You're likely to feel this over and over again. It's natural in a relationship. And abusive relationships starts out this way too. They start out feeling amazing until someone can't get out. There's this intense physical and emotional attraction. And if we're saying that this is something special, even when it turns out to be volatile, then that's a very dangerous way to think. Rachel Bernstein, who's a relationship and marriage therapist who often specializes in cult rehabilitation, also says that the idea that someone is not fully formed on their own, and anything that gives the impression that someone is not a full human being without somebody else is something to be very wary of. We don't want to rob people from feeling like they're their whole selves. You don't want to tell someone that they're not complete as they are, because they are and you are. So that's why this can be a dangerous term. And there's just so many reasons why it's problematic. Someone could lose a spouse or a partner or a boyfriend or girlfriend or someone they love, and that doesn't mean that they are destined to be alone because they lost their one twin flame. Also, people can use this for relationships someone else is uncomfortable with. Like, there was this one post I read where someone was saying, my twin flame is 50 years younger than me. My twin flame lives across the whole world and I'm trying to convince them to move and be with me. And it's just saying, you don't just have one person. And if there are reasons why you should not be together, or that other person doesn't want you together, you can still find someone else and be just as in love and have these same feelings and also grow just as much. Situations like that is where people get pushy and they get dangerous, and it's huge in celebrity culture. There was a whole story about Ryan Gosling and how someone claimed he is my twin flame, and he ended up having to get a restraining order against them. She would travel to his relatives' homes, she would send messages, she would try and get into his life saying, I'm his twin flame, I'm the love of his life, when she's never even met him. And it's another example there that is infatuation. How can you know someone is a soulmate or a twin flame if you've never met them, if you've never had a conversation? It's this feeling of attraction and infatuation, and that is not true love. However, I want to make it really clear, like half an hour in, that I'm not trying to shame you for believing in twin flames, or even if you believe you're in a twin flame connection. When you really want love, or when you feel a deep connection, it's natural to come to these conclusions. And if it's healthy for you and it's a term that works for you, then there's nothing wrong with it. It's just when we get into these dangerous or obsessive or hurtful behaviors, which is what a lot of people do when they're not educated on the fact, that it then becomes dangerous, that it then becomes a problem. And it's a big part of the twin flame history. And so you got to talk about it. It's most of what is surrounding twin flames is hurt and controversy and dangerous situations, because people aren't educated on what it really means, which is just someone who is your foil. And it actually has nothing to do with love. We think it has something to do with love, and it's marketed and sold that way. But if you believe in just the concept of twin flames in general, it could be your mother, your sister, your coworker. So I'm not trying to shame you or make you feel bad about believing in this. I just want you to have all the facts to keep yourself safe. Believing in the idea of true love and someone who will complete you and make you happy is not something to be ashamed of. I'm just trying to protect you. And I want you to be informed because it is so prevalent in the media. Like Ryan Gosling, like this idea of, I found my twin flame and they're a celebrity, or they don't know I exist. And like I said, that's just infatuation. And we also see these examples of love that feel so deep and also hurtful, and like you're pulled towards them in other places in media. The media loves things like this. They love crystals, they love astrology, they love manifestation. And that's when misinformation begins to get spread, because like I said, twin flames isn't just about love. It's just about being a mirror. But the media has ran with it to mean love. And now a lot of people think that way. It's seen in Taylor Swift's song All Too Well when she says, did the twin flame bruise paint you blue? Just between us did the love affair maim you too. So hard not to sing that. Just between us did the love affair maim you too. And this is believed to be about her relationship with Jake Gyllenhaal. And it sounds like such a deep, long-lasting love. Like it still has had such an effect on me that it painted me blue. But this also was very widely spread, believed to be not the healthiest relationship, and you can see that even in the music video. So it's not a love that we should be striving for. It's seen all over the world. Princess Martha Louise, Princess of Norway, has also called someone her twin flame. So it's seen all over the place. It is a widespread term that we believe means love, but doesn't. And the biggest example that we all know is Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. I'm sure you've heard of that, where they have spoken that they are twin flames, that they are very on and off again. It's a bit of a volatile relationship, that they push each other, but they love each other so deeply. They're doing like rituals where they drink each other's blood. And once again, it's just a misinterpretation of it. And most recently in the media, we've had documentaries come out specifically about twin flames and about a very prolific group called the Twin Flame Universe, and how it basically is a cult. Many believe it to be a cult, many believe it to be very dangerous, and I want to talk about it. I watched the Netflix documentary Escaping Twin Flames, and it was very, very eye-opening and interesting. So if you're interested in going even deeper, I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of it, because it's where a lot of our twin flame stuff gets started. Here, it's where we get a lot of ideas about twin flames, and I think where a lot of people have run with the idea about. So I want to give you a quick synopsis of the history, but go watch the Netflix documentary if you haven't already, because it's worth it. I do want to put in some trigger warnings here. I'll put a time code for when I'm done talking about the Twin Flames cult, if you just want to skip it all together. But I will also put warnings on screen. I won't be saying them, but I will be putting warnings on screen of when specific triggers are coming up and what the time codes are that you can jump to it, because there are a lot. Let me just read the list here. The trigger warnings that I have put down, and there might be more, maybe I might add a few more here if I missed any, but are manipulation, cults, extreme gaslighting, family estrangement, emotional abusive behavior, sexism, sex shaming, manipulation around sex, harmful beliefs with the LGBTQ plus community, transphobia, and forced transgender transitions. And I'm sure there's more that I'll put here. This is just not a good group of, not even group of people, leaders of this group. So we're gonna put that there, but let's just jump right into it. So the leaders of the Twin Flame universe are Jeff and Shalaya Ayan. I think I'm saying that right. I don't really care enough about these two people to get their names right. Now that this scandal has really been brought into the open with documentaries with Netflix and journalist investigations, they do go by the last name Divine, I think to avoid the search, the Google search. But that is who are founders of the Twin Flame universe, which is still going, and you can still join today, which is why I think it's so important that we educate ourselves, and that's one of the reasons that this video is happening today. If I do mention Jeff more than Shalaya, I think it's because Jeff really did take the spearhead here. He wants to be a billionaire. He has a very entrepreneurial mindset and he pushes a lot. A little background here on Jeff was that he had this drive for business from a very young age. He would talk a lot about wanting to be a billionaire, being an entrepreneur, and find a way to make himself rich, basically. For a while, he went by a different alias. Let me look at what it is. Edgar Ionithos, where he was a lifestyle guru, a lifestyle coach. And that's when he met Shalaya, who has changed her name to Shalaya over a spiritual experience where the name spoke to her, but her real name is Megan Plant. So they met each other and they started all these different ventures together and ultimately ended on Twin Flames because I think they started to become successful. They could sell their relationship, they could sell themselves as Twin Flames, and other people wanted what they had, which was love. But some of their other businesses that they tried out were Awakened Intimacy and Divine Guided Readings. And Jeff Ayan actually had jeffayan.com. He claimed to be a spiritual healer. There's a direct quote from the website which reads, "Jeff has been gifted with the ability to see into the root cause of your ailment and will help you heal it for good. He can help you resolve any ailment with a specific science yet unknown to the modern medicine world." What science, Jeff? How do scientists not know about it, Jeff? Why has no one else ever heard of it and just you? It's just one of those things where I really believe taking a pain point and selling nothing to take advantage of people. There was another quote on his website that reads, "This isn't Eastern medicine, it isn't energy healing, it's a science of thought uncovered by Jeff himself through deep personal exploration into the core issues of pain. You don't even need to believe it will work for it to work for you." And guess what? He stopped. I really think that if this was something that genuinely worked, he would still be doing it. If he could cure cancer through his special little thought experiments, do you not think he would still be going today? But no, this website is now down. It has now stopped. So just an early precaution of how he was already taking advantage of people through pain points and spirituality. Before he was selling a cure for cancer, a cure for pain, and now he's selling true love. And there are these things that people desire answers for, and he just took advantage of that. They then created the Twin Flame universe, and you could join for $222 a month, and it got to the point where it almost looked like daily calls. I don't know how many calls they had, but it was a lot. And this course, these calls were supposed to help you find true love. It was a group sort of experience. They taught people a mirror exercise, which was to take things they were getting back from people, like, oh, they're rejecting me, oh, how am I rejecting myself, and turning everything inward. When I first heard about this, I thought, oh, this is great. I love doing reflective work. I love doing mirror work. But this was used later on as an intense manipulation tool to take anybody's free will and free thought away from them. And it would actually lower their followers' and clients' self-esteem and will. They would then take any success stories, any people who found love, and they would give them lots of money. They would set them up in homes. They would bring them to events and really parade around this idea that it works, it works, it works. And he took these people and started to create this pyramid scheme where they found love, and now they could come into the Twin Flames universe and coach other people on how to find their twin flame as well. Jeff also claimed to have special powers to receive divine messages, to know if someone was your twin flame or not, and he would really just find the most convenient answer. If you had an ex you couldn't stop thinking about, if you just had a recent ex, if anyone showed interest in you, they were your twin flame, especially if they were already part of the twin flame universe. There were some examples here, like Marley, who was only 19, speaking about how a man joined the twin flame universe Facebook group and expressed interest in her, and this actually made her feel uncomfortable. But she was instead told by Jeff, why does attention make you uncomfortable? Do you not pay enough attention to yourself? Mirror that back. This person is your twin flame. And it ended up being a very volatile relationship where she did not feel safe. He was 11 years older than her and on a very dark path, and she was brought through all this trauma because he was the convenient answer. She was also told that if she was healed, he would heal because she was his twin flame. And so a lot of the blame was then put back on her. She was estranged from her family members, meant to just focus on that relationship to grow and to heal, and ended up putting her in a very difficult, dangerous, and unhappy situation. He would claim people's exes or infatuations and crushes were their twin flames, and he would push them, saying they could not relent. They had to go, 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 even when this person was setting boundaries and saying no. People in the twin flame universe actually got restraining orders put on them by other people because they were being pushed so heavily to not relent. And if something didn't work out, he would just claim it wasn't true twin flame, or they didn't want it enough, and he would find a new solution for them down the road. So as you can see, there's a lot of gaslighting here. He would wave his arms and slam his fists and make big proclamations and get everyone to cheer and really try and use this mob mentality. He would belittle you and push you down if you pushed against him, make you feel shameful or lesser in front of everybody else. When you watch his body language, it is just manipulation to its core, and it gave me such the ick. It made my heart so sore that he was using people so much, and he was taking their pain and turning it into profit for himself. He would use that mirror method for a client to take all the blame for why it wasn't working out, and he even had clients say, I feel like you're manipulating me. And he would make them turn it back. How are you manipulating yourself? Why don't you feel safe with me? You must not feel safe with yourself. You won't go after your true love, your twin flame, because you're afraid they hate you, or they do hate you. That means you hate yourself. You fear they will reject you. How are you rejecting yourself? It was just taken too far. He took the successful coaches, like I said before, made them coaches, pushed them higher and higher with different levels below to make money. He took people and he would say, you're our marketer, you're going to work for the twin flame universe, but instead of fully paying them, he would pay them some and then say, you have to take all these courses, you have to take all of our courses, we'll give them to you for free for working. There's a quote of him in one of his calls saying directly, you are going to be able to quit your jobs and have a serious job as a coach and have a respectable career that makes respectable income. You're going to be so happy with yourself. You're going to be so alive. When at the end of the year you look and there's 6 digits in that revenue stream. He was selling a lifestyle, a dream, through a farce. It got to the point where it was very MLM. It was very much a triangle scheme. There were gurus, mastered certified ascension coaches, and then certified ascension coaches. These clients did not get paid much, like I said, but Jeff and Shalea were buying luxury goods, cars, and houses. Once again, he was quoted in saying, there's nothing sexier than a hot career. It definitely opens quite the glow of sex appeal to your twin flame. But people's passions like music were rejected, and instead they were told, you're meant to be a salesman for us. They then began teaching this idea of the divine feminine and masculine, like we talked about at the beginning, but instead said that each person plays a role and they must transition to that role. Jeff claimed to have divine interventions of couples within the twin flame universes that were meant to be together. and he would tell women, you are meant to be men, and tell men they are meant to be women. And rather than just embrace that on an energy level, they were told they should change their appearance and their names to fit this new gender identity. And this isn't saying that trans people don't exist, but it is saying that only 1% of transgender people statistically are unhappy with their transition, and these forced transitions is very transphobic, and it's very hurtful towards that community and towards these individuals as well. Jeff became increasingly sexist. He became increasingly misogynistic, trying to take power away from women. He was quoted saying to Marley, "You are not Marley anymore, you are somebody's woman." He used sex as an ascension tool, saying that if you're not having it, there's something wrong, you need to heal yourself. If your man wants it and you say no, you need to heal yourself. Do the mirror trick. Do the mirror healing. Next, they developed the MAP or MAP project, which also still exists today. Using hypnosis and suggested trauma, clients would be brought through their subconscious mind to heal, but oftentimes to heal suggested trauma that they didn't even find, but was suggested by these practitioners who were not medical professionals, who were not certified therapists. They were told to alienate themselves from friends and family through planted trauma by these practitioners. This page still exists. Jeff is no longer on the front page. He's under staff and the About Us page as Jeff Divine, but there's not even any medical or therapeutic professionals who work on this project. There's a doctor, but that's because this person has a PhD in public safety and leadership, but the term doctor is used to bring with it the idea of health and of healing. And Jeff started creating so many programs like this. There was Divine Dish that was $100 a month to give you recipes and videos. There was, like I said, MAP, there was one-to-one coaching and all products and courses to become a coach. There was also something they started called Divine Gaming. And this is something I found, so take it what you will. When you type in jeffian.com, which was his old original website, it now brings you to a whole different URL called Billionaire Brainwaves, claiming that there's this new way to call in money through the brainwaves working with doctors, even though once again these doctors are accredited to non-health related or therapy or psychology related things. And Jeff is nowhere to be mentioned, but when you look up this program and this website, it's all people saying this is a scam, and saying all these horrible things about it. And I don't personally think it's a coincidence that when you type in his old website, this comes up, and he talks about brainwaves. He talks about becoming a billionaire. It's just so Jeff coded. So you do that what you will, but you can type in jeffian.com and this website will come up, and it's very suspicious to me. It's a little suspicious. Jeff is also quoted saying things like this: "The internet is a place teeming with people with problems, and if you walk up with the solution, oh honey, people are lined up out your door." And then he rubbed his hands together, which I was like, ugh. "Let's license this," he's talking about MAP, "let's license this, this training program to the military, and then I'll be a billionaire." He would tell his clients how to fish in PTSD groups to find clients. There's another quote where he says, "I'm not being rude. I'm not being controlling or domineering. I'm not being a jerk. I'm not being a dick. This is what discipline looks like." And finally, he decided he wanted to evade taxes and pay people even less. "I have got a solution. We're going to turn part of our company into a religion. And in this way, I don't have to pay people. I can just have volunteers." And this is when he created the Church of Union. And he started comparing his own image to the image of Jesus, saying, "I look just like Jesus. I am Jesus. You should worship me as a god." He began kicking people out of the group who questioned too much. He asked them to write essays about why he wasn't a cult leader. And he began looking for a plot of land to move into and to create the church and have people live there. And they would get paid to live there. They would get the place for free if they worked for him and brought more people in. They began taking 50% of the coach's salary for the church. And this is continuing to go on. It has not been shut down to this day. At the end of the documentary, one of the estranged family members said, quote, "That true love, it's unconditional. You don't have to work for it. You don't have to do the work to receive. You just have it." The definition of soulmates, and that's the definition of what you're looking for, but a lot of the media and the people pushing around twin flames are not looking for that same thing. They're looking to make you push through pain, to create in pain, and to get control of you and to make profit off of you. And I just don't think that's okay. I don't know if twin flames exists. If I do, I don't think they have anything to do with love. And I think they have everything to do with learning and growing and mirroring yourself and what you need to understand and learn about yourself. But I don't think they have anything to do with divine union or divine love. And if you come across anybody selling you the idea of love in a bottle, that they can help you find the love of your life, I would just be wary. I think you can always get guidance and you can always ask for help, but I don't think anyone ever has all the solutions, and no one can tell you exactly what you need to do to call in that love. No one can tell you, if you follow my exact process, I will find you this divine love. And also that there's only one person out there for you. If you don't feel safe in a relationship, it's not divine love. It's not what you're looking for, no matter what people are telling you. So take this as you will. It's a little bit of a darker episode. I want to believe in the idea of twin flames and of this divine love, but I don't think it's in the way it's being marketed right now. And I don't think that we should place all of our beliefs in something that is so newly discovered and newly marketed, and that is known for being manipulative and hurtful towards people. I think the biggest thing you can learn here is that it's okay to change your beliefs. It's okay to do research, and that you don't have to take everything from face value just on what someone's saying, that your spirituality and your beliefs are yours, and that you should vet your spiritual practitioners, even me. You should vet them, you should ask people about them, and you should make sure you really trust them before jumping into something. You should reflect on how sessions make you feel, and if that person makes you feel lesser for being you or for questioning things, and if they're open and if you feel love from them. No practitioner should be telling you you have to do something a certain way, you have to have certain beliefs, and you have to be and believe and act in accordance to what I'm telling you to. So, like I said, it's a little bit of a darker episode. I don't think they'll all be like this. I think just the concept of twin flames and the history and the current world around it is just a bit darker. And that's okay, but maybe next time we can do something lighter. Maybe we can do Halloween. Or, I mean, witches wouldn't exactly be light. But maybe a pagan ritual or different things like that. And I can do a deep dive, tell you all about the different things you can use, the different spells you can do. Maybe you want to know a history of tarot. It doesn't always have to be dark. It doesn't always have to be a dark history, but it was still interesting and fascinating, and I really enjoyed learning. So let me know in the comments below, A, what you would like me to look into, and maybe I'll add it to my list. And B, if you made it all the way, leave a little blue heart below saying that you made it all the way, and let me know what you think of twin flames, what you thought of today's episode. If you're watching over on YouTube, then make sure you go check out my podcast. I don't have more deep dives. They're going to be coming out around the same time, but I have so much more spiritual content. If you love learning about spirituality, if you want to hear how I use it practically in my own life, go check me out over at the Goddess Journals. And if you're listening to this on the Goddess Journals, go check out my YouTube. I have weekly videos of spiritual vlogs, spiritual content, Q&As, crystal recommendations, and monthly tarot card readings. I will put the links below. It's Spring Loon Oracles over on YouTube, and it is the Goddess Journals anywhere where you listen to podcasts. But I hope you enjoyed today's spiritual deep dive, and I will see you next time. All right, bye.